Well, everybody, we're completely unhinged today, so please stay with us.
I gotta say, like, major vibe shift from like post-election day 2024.
Last year when we did this, if you all recall, we were hungover. We were really depressed. It was not a good day.
We were toes up.
Julie was like, fuck this shit. I'm not even coming in to record today. I think I'd gotten 3 hours of sleep. So we are calling everything by midnight last night. It was perfect for me. I got to go to bed, get a full night's sleep.
Yes.
It was great. I mean, even stuff that was coming in from California was called at like 11:30 Eastern time. It was
isn't
phenomenal.
That beautiful absentee voting? Isn't it a great
we love
fucking
it.
thing?
We love it. Stop the count.
Oh,
We finally fucking got that blue wave we've been waiting for.
I mean, it does definitely feel like the Democrats got a little bit of their mojo back. Last night, I know I'm feeling a little bit more hopeful today. I'm just kind of cautiously optimistic about some things. So why don't we kind of talk about yesterday's winners and losers?
Yeah, I mean, we got to start at the top of the list. Mayor of New York City, Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani.
That's right.
I mean, this guy put together a coalition, something that no one alive
He
has
won
seen.
every ethnic group by a lot, like white people, black people, Hispanic people, Chinese people, like Asian. Like he won across the board and by a lot.
Literally fucking drove out 1 million more people to vote. 2 million people came out to vote. And when I heard that was the largest block of voters in New York City since 1969 of a city of 8 million people, that was wild. Phenomenal.
When you saw kind of like once the election was called and you saw the reaction of New Yorkers in New York, and Gene, I really want your perspective as a New Yorker, but like I don't recall seeing people in New York dance in the streets after a election.
Maybe
like,
Obama.
Yeah, maybe Obama. But like
Obama was like probably the first time, and then when Trump was defeated in 2020.
yeah, like before
dancing.
a mayor's election.
But for
never.
municipal races, no, it's unheard of.
Yeah, and it feels like for a city like New York, which is super diverse, so many people of different walks of life, so many immigrant communities, where it's like they all just go, this is our guy.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing was that in the primary, Mamdani underperformed with the black community by, I think, 7 to 10 points. He recouped it.
Yeah.
And then
4x.
some.
He was plus 40 with African-American voters in New York. That's insane.
Let's not forget the establishment called up Jim Clyburn and had him record like a robocall that went out to black voters telling them to vote for Andrew Cuomo. So they did. And none of that shit went down this time around.
That doesn't fucking work. I mean, I think what we need to talk about is, and what all the pundits are talking about, is why Mamdani worked. Like how this kind of guy who is an assemblyman out of nowhere a year ago, or maybe 1% of the population knew who he was able to get this plurality of voters, able to get all these people out. And for me, it's that fucking messaging discipline. It is the policies that people want to hear about. These are the things that they need in their lives right now. And he stuck to the message and he never deviated.
2 words: affordability crisis.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over again. Everybody everywhere knows prices on everything we consume. Food, electricity, like across the board is going up, and affordability crisis was hammered in throughout his entire campaign. And he was authentic. That is who he is. That is what he cares about. And he's putting his money where his mouth is.
And that's the thing that I wanted to touch on was the authenticity angle, which is at every moment where he could have easily taken the route out to give a sort of politician's answer, he just didn't and just answered like a real human being.
Yep.
And that in and of itself, especially in a place like New York, but anywhere you go, is going to carry you far. I mean, when you see a dude literally just walk up to get halal and he's just like, bro, this costs too much.
Yeah.
And that's a very simple, everyday New York thing that every New Yorker is going to resonate with. He's like, it costs too much, y'all.
He was literally walking up to like the sidewalk carts. Like if you haven't been in New York City, every corner has a cart of something, right? Like whether it's hot dogs, halal, like taco, whatever. He was walking up to these food trucks and carts saying, what would enable you to lower the prices? Because some people can't afford a $15 lunch. And they would be like, oh, well, my licensing costs this much for me to be able to stay, like talking to real people, finding real solutions, like bottom line, like just a regular dude walking down the street, talking to voters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just completely baffled the establishment. No, he did.
What I don't understand about that, and what I would say to anyone out there who's running for office in 2026, if you're not fucking talking about the economy, then you're losing. And I don't know why this baffles anybody in the first place.
I have another point to make there, because if you're running in 2026 and the establishment and people in DC and the consultants are telling you, you need to be on the phone all day, don't talk to voters, talk to donors, that is not how you win.
No.
And that is exactly what they are saying to do.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
And it's so hilarious too, because when you look back at Mamdani, you look at how he performed in these debates. When Cuomo would sit back and say, yes, I pay $7,000 for my mortgage, but he lives in a poor person's apartment for $2,600 a month. And Mamdani literally laughs at him and says he thinks $2,600 is where poor people live.
Yeah.
Like that was his only response.
Completely out of touch with reality. Like completely out of touch with reality.
And it's like you have to boil these things down to the most base level argument, and that was Mamdani's superpower, and that's what he did. And the messaging stayed consistent, he stayed consistent, and now he's in the mayor's office of the biggest city in the country.
Let's talk about the problem with young men, because this is a group of voters that every Democrat has tried to reach. And we have the Democratic establishment, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, completely ignoring the fact that Mamdani won young men by 40 points.
Yeah.
And also won the billionaire.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the thing. Like,
At the
he
same
won in
time.
the financial district. He won the billionaires.
Okay, so it's not like the billionaires don't live
Well,
in the
no, they
financial
don't, but, like,
district.
he
They
won
live in like the suburbs of
Yeah,
New
yeah,
Jersey
yeah,
and
yeah,
Connecticut
yeah.
and Long Island.
But of the
But
people
he
with a lot of
did
money
win the financial district,
who live
which is
actually
where
in
I used to
Manhattan.
live,
Yeah.
and it's kind of funny.
Yeah, so it's like, but to your point, he won with young men, and as the youngest man on the podcast today, I'll say,
Not the youngest man in the room,
I
though.
say on the podcast. But I think it's because he boiled down that message of like, these are the people, the billionaires are the people who are in the way of you being able to live the life that you want to live. Like, if you can afford the things you need, then you wouldn't be worried about
This is
this
the
other
basics.
stuff.
This is basic stuff.
Yeah.
This isn't asking for, lobster and caviar and yachts and shit like that. This is people's basics.
It's not asking for tax credits to fix your private airplane,
That's
which
right.
is actually a bill in the Michigan legislature right now.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I mean, I want to kind of circle back to, and I just said circle back. I'm so sorry. I want to come back to what you were just saying about like winning the young men, right? The young men vote, and we're very excited, obviously in Detroit, because Mary Sheffield was just elected last night too. Our first woman mayor of Detroit, so kind of a lot of firsts. Like Mamdani's first Muslim mayor of New York City. We've got Mary Sheffield. You were out.
Yeah.
Last night.
I went to both the Kinlock party and I went to the Sheffield party.
I bet they're vastly different
They were very
vibes.
different vibes. They were very different vibes.
Who the fuck wants to party with Ken Locke?
Yeah, it felt like it was just mostly
The
like
fucking
his family.
mega church pastor who
Yeah.
doesn't even live here.
It just felt like it was like his
So you were in
cousins.
Southfield at his party?
No, his party was actually right.
No,
it was
it's not even in Southfield. He
Nah.
lives like up like by Flint almost.
like Genesee County somewhere.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
All right.
but
So you went to the parties.
So I went to the parties. I wasn't at Kinlock's for very long. Wasn't a lot going on. And so I went to Mary Sheffield's party with another one of our contributors here at Distill Social, and get some content and everything. And
we
let
can
me
give
tell
Jack
y'all-
a shout out.
Yeah, let's give Jack a shout out because he was great.
Yeah.
But I got to tell y'all, the energy with Mary Sheffield's party and with her whole campaign, even though it was a landslide, like it was night and day. I mean, the entire breadth of what felt like Metro Detroit was there. There were people from all walks of life. There were significantly younger people at the Mary Sheffield thing. And I just want to talking about young men, I got to say this though.
Yeah.
I do got to say this. All right. I'm going to look right in the camera when I say
Oh,
this.
you're so serious now.
Young men, take this from a borderline unk. All right. if y'all is going to these turning point meetings and stuff, ain't nothing happening. The incel situation is going to remain the same.
You're just going to stay angry and frustrated.
You're just going to stay angry and frustrated. The women is at these liberal parties, y'all.
Norris's game is so strong.
The liberal, that's where they at. Because at this Mary Sheffield thing, I'm talking about it was women all over the place and everybody was looking good. Everybody had their outfits on. It was phenomenal. So if you are wondering, oh man, where are all the nice girls to meet, the smart ones in the politics and stuff like that, they not at Turning Point, dog. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. They not there. They was at the Mary Sheffield party. That's where they was at, which makes sense because why wouldn't the politically active women of Metro Detroit be rocking with Mary Sheffield? Right. It just kind of made sense.
You don't need Turning Point. You don't even need speed dating. Just volunteer for a campaign.
That's right.
For a woman.
Because it was. I mean, it felt like it was like 2-1.
Yeah, all the hotties were out last night.
Apparently.
It was incredible.
Norris was doing very well, gathering some Instagrams.
I was working.
You were working.
I was working. Yep. I was working. Don't put that on me.
I can't wait to hear all about it later.
Don't put that on me.
Don't get Norris in trouble.
I'm not getting in trouble.
No, we work hard and we play hard.
That's right.
So
that's what we gotta do.
Norris wants to get a few Instagrams and have a drink.
I was working.
We believe you.
Nah, but it was.
It was hard to keep Jack's jaw from off the ground.
Jack, I love you to death, man. But the focus was all over the place because it was a lot out there. And you know what? I was glad to see it.
Good.
I was glad to see it because it showed the strength and sort of this changing of the guard, this movement towards millennial leadership, whether it's Mamdani, whether it's Mary Sheffield, whether it's Denzel McCampbell, who also won
another
city
Democratic socialist who won last night.
Who wiped the floor with Karen Whitsett, who we won't have to hear from ever again.
So
hopefully.
if you guys remember, we've been really working to help Denzel get elected because he unseated Karen Whitsett, who was the thorn in the side of the House Dems, because while she was occupying a Dem seat and supposedly a Democrat, she was caucusing with the Republicans for the last year and a half.
Yep.
And she famously thanked President Trump for telling her to take ivermectin when she had COVID. Looney Tune lady is now out of a job. So thank you, Denzel.
That's right, Denzel. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Detroit DSA, because you guys were out knocking doors for him
That's
every day.
I hear y'all had a great party too. I tried to make it, but I was working.
You were working. I mean, we have so many other things that we need to get to and celebrate today as well. In New Jersey, we've got and Virginia.
Mikey Sherrill won in New Jersey. Yep. And I want to say the polls had that neck and neck, and she won by almost 15 points. So.
Yeah, exactly. The fucking polls were wrong. Shocking.
Yeah, and the same in Virginia.
Abigail Spanberger. I think Virginia is a really interesting place right now too. Two kind of different things. I think New Jersey, she was really running on this notion of the fucking power bills are too high. The utility bills are too high.
I want to put this out there. Mikey Sherrill is a centrist corporate Democrat.
Yeah, and so is Abigail Spanberger.
Yes, they both are, but they are kind of what was needed. I don't believe a Democratic socialist could have won New Jersey last night.
Or Virginia for that matter. I mean, we're looking at two women who are the governors of these states who've never had women governors before.
New Jersey has.
Oh, New Jersey has. Yeah. Virginia hadn't. 18 states haven't had women governors, and Virginia had never had a woman governor or a woman U.S. senator before. So definitely making a big blue wave there.
And both these women are, Mikey Sherrill's former congressman, very women who can really do good jobs with.
Came up in the
2018
seats. Wave after Trump's first.
Can I tell you my favorite big loss of the night?
Yes.
Okay, J.D. Vance's brother was running for governor of Cincinnati.
Mayor of
Cincinnati. Yeah. And fucking got destroyed.
He lost by 60 points to the incumbents.
60 points.
Yeah. So it was you know what? I love to see that when somebody's older brother or sibling or something like that wins a major office, and then they think, yeah, let's be a political
Let me
dynasty.
ride on these coattails.
Let me ride on these coattails, and bro was slapped down expeditiously.
Yeah.
That was not close at all.
Nope, that was fantastic. I think in general, like Republicans just had major losses everywhere. I mean, there were seats, like commissioner seats they were talking about, like in red states that had been red for decades, and suddenly now there's a Democrat in place there.
Yeah, and I think the two huge things that were not actually candidates that won, but were ballot initiatives or new laws that are going to be put forth, is that in Colorado they basically had a version of like invest in my kids type situation where they're now going to be taxing incomes above $300,000 to fund free school lunches for all students in Colorado. Like this is a thing that is like, y'all, why wouldn't we do this? No kid in Colorado is going to go hungry at school. Every kid will be fed. Like, that's a great thing. And then also the California redistricting ballot initiative
Daddy Newsom.
passed overwhelmingly. And so that is going to be a state that looks very different in the coming years in terms of its representation.
We're going to pick up 5 seats in California to offset the 5 seats that Trump called the governor of Texas to say, hey, you need to redistrict and give me 5 seats.
Fuck around and find out.
Exactly.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
I mean, you got the biggest red state and the biggest blue state, and now that offset. So
Daddy Newsom.
Nothing changed. All
Daddy.
his effort and nothing changed.
That's right.
So-
the Pennsylvania Supreme Court also retained all of their justices, so they'll be able to protect their
So
rights
they have
there.
a 5-2 Democratic majority there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that.
One of my favorite wins from last night was in the little town of Hamtramck, not too far from where we're recording, which
Excellent Polish food.
yes, it does actually. So we used to hold events in Hamtramck, and people were like, "Oh, we're not going. You're that mayor, blah blah blah." Yes, the former mayor of Hamtramck is a fucking disgusting bigot, total MAGA, and his head was injected as far up Trump's ass as one could possibly have it. He decided not to run again. Trump was like, "Hey, I'll make you ambassador of Kuwait."
Yeah. Yeah.
Which that's in question.
That
though.
confirmation likely isn't going to happen. That guy's going to be out of a job. And then a liberal man won Hamtramck by 11 votes last night.
11 votes.
11.
Every vote counts.
Every
people.
vote counts.
Every
11.
vote
Like
counts.
literally, that was 2 houses.
Yeah.
Yep.
Worth of people.
That's right.
That voted.
that were
yeah.
over 18.
Yep, 2 houses worth of people. So
Every freaking vote
don't
counts.
think your votes don't count, y'all.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we had this nice little repudiation of
Good job.
Trump. Thank you. Of Trump last night.
Total
The little blue-
rejection.
Total rejection.
He was spiraling
of his
last night on
bullshit.
Truth Social.
Oh,
by the
though,
way.
that last. Let me read the fucking tweet.
Is it in all caps?
Of course.
Of course it is. It's just stuck in caps.
And he was talking about himself in first person. Trump wasn't on the ballot, and shutdown were the 2 reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight, according to pollsters. He doesn't name any.
So he's admitting basically that the shutdown is the fault of the Republicans then.
But
basically
it's,
what
I was
he's
about to
saying.
say, actually, a broke clock is right twice a day.
That's right.
He's complete. He's actually spot on. The reason why is that if Trump is not on the ballot and the fact that the government is shut down, there is nothing for the average Republican to vote for.
Yep.
Because half of the Republican base is really upset about this shutdown. There's cuts to SNAP benefits. The healthcare is going to go up. And on top of that, Trump's name is not on the ballot, so they're not motivated to go out and support any of these candidates. And so he is actually astutely correct.
Yep, in caps, probably typing from his golden toilet.
The biggest losers of the night, aside from Trump and Alan Dershowitz, who made a promise.
No.
No, Gina.
Don't say it. Don't
Gina,
say
don't.
it, Gina.
Gina, don't. You'll
say
get
it.
us deplatformed.
If you want to Google it, you can go Google it.
He made a promise. We're not telling him that he needs to stick to it, but he made a promise. You guys can go Google it. The biggest losers of the night were the Trump billionaires who poured tens of millions
my
of dollars
gosh.
into the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, into New York City, into Virginia, into New Jersey, and fucking lost it all. All that dark money, all the smear ads, all the lies. MAGA billionaires torched a fortune and still couldn't buy a win.
instead of dark money, we got dark woke.
Yes.
Dark woke.
That's what it was. Dark woke. That's what
right.
came in, and the people spoke, and the big money didn't win. This is one of the few times where the big money didn't win. The power of the people won out, and it just goes to show everybody that if you go out and you vote and you mobilize in mass, the interests of big money and billionaires seems to fall by the wayside.
There was some foreshadowing of the dark woke. We woke
Yeah.
up yesterday morning to the news that Dick Cheney had died.
Yes. So Dick Cheney
This is actually,
just
yes, this is the
Yes.
definition of dark woke.
Dick Cheney just invaded hell. So if anybody remembers Dick Cheney, which was so funny when I was reading all this for the pod, because some of us were like, "Oh, we thought he was already dead." He was walking around with like a transplanted heart. Like it wasn't even his actual heart.
Yeah, it was like half machinery.
Right. Dude did not have an actual heart, but he died on election day. Let's all recognize him for the asshole and the horrible person that he was. Someone who started an unjust war in Iraq that was 8 years long.
Millions of people
Millions died.
Hundreds of millions displaced.
Yep, exactly. And lied about the reasons why we needed to go there. He escalated the war on terror. He shot his friend in the face.
And made his friend apologize on TV.
Right.
With the buckshot.
I don't remember
Yes,
that.
with the buckshot in his face.
Yeah. He authorized torture.
Yep.
It's just a horrible human being.
Great legacy.
Great legacy to leave behind. And, obviously he endorsed Kamala Harris a few years ago. So we know Trump's not going to be doing any repose in the rotunda for him. There ain't going to be any of that shit. He's only 4 years older than Trump too. So just putting that out there. But
yeah, it's, you know what? It's
woke.
Dark woke. But, it is one of those things where you look at Dick Cheney and it does feel like for as terrible as many of the things that he did, it feels like that era is finally just gone.
Yeah.
That era of the hawkish, warmongering Republican is gone, and now we just have ineptitude, which
blowing up Venezuelan boats.
yeah, which is like, listen, I didn't like Dick Cheney, and I'll freely say that, but there was a cold effectiveness to it. There's a reason why we called him Darth Vader, right? But now everything is so haphazard, it's almost scarier,
Right.
because we just don't know.
The inmates are running the asylum.
Yeah, we
essentially.
just don't know what's gonna happen, and so Dick Cheney. Whatever, bro.
Well, welcome back to another episode of The Point of Disorder. We had kind of a very long intro today. I told you it was going to be a little unhinged, lots to report on. I'm Adrian.
I'm Norris.
And I'm Gina.
So as per usual, if you like the pod, you need to support us, like us, follow us, share on all of the platforms wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch this full episode on YouTube, or you can follow us on all the socials at The Point of Disorder, at Distill Social, and at The Girl Politic.
And for the banging clips, go to Instagram or TikTok and follow Point of Disorder. And you'll find all of our best little quips on there that you can share with your friends.
That's right. We like our little quips here, don't we?
We really do.
Well, speaking of quips, the leopards are feasting.
Yes.
So let's just, let's stay on this nice vein, let's surf this blue wave and kind of speak about the MAGA mom on Snap whose family is not giving her any money.
So I don't know if y'all saw this, but there was a viral Facebook post from last week going around. We call her the MAGA mom now. We're
MAGA
not going
mom.
to say her name, but a mother took to her social media and wrote a whole little thing about how, here, I'll just read some of it. I'm so anxious about this whole shutdown. Many of us are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband's veteran. This is poor grammar, she wrote. Sorry. Okay. Her husband is a veteran using his GI Bill for school, she can't even write, guys. Okay. It's affected the way they get food stamps, and she's disabled also, and her husband's also in school. They have 2 kids. One is 2 years old, and they're waiting to get this child tested for autism. She's a picky eater. And she writes, I've tried other foods, but in the end, I give up because I don't want any more screaming. I think all moms have been there.
Yeah, especially
Then she's
a
got a
2-year-old.
6-month-old who's just starting on all the little baby foods, the purees. So yes, they get WIC, but still they don't know how they're going to pay rent, let alone their other bills, and still get food. So she writes, I do cook everything from scratch. I've been adding rice and beans or noodles to stretch things out. I'm just at my wit's end and I'm overwhelmed. Plus, we're almost out of formula. He asked his mother to buy food for them until their WIC comes in. Her response was, that's what you voted for.
That's what you voted for.
You know what? Listen, to some people, they're just like, oh, that's family. You shouldn't be cruel to family. You should help out. But we don't know what the context is. We don't know if this woman has been insufferable for the past
It sounds like she probably
might have
has.
been. And so when somebody's like that, yeah, that's the only way they're gonna learn.
Yeah.
And there's
She's not going to learn. So what I want to point
The
out.
only way people do learn is when that
It's
shit
pain.
happens to them.
the brick is coming through your window,
Yeah.
right? But like here's what I want to point out about that entire post, okay? Her whole family has been living off the government. Period. And she voted for Trump and she votes Republican.
Knowing
This
the
is-
whole Doge thing was
like
coming.
nothing could have changed her mind about this. But
Right.
let's kind of count the amount of government assistance things that they're on, which I think is great. We need those.
Yeah, so
we need those things there.
the
We
GI Bill.
all
The
want
GI
our
Bill.
taxes to pay for these
Yes,
things.
Right. So
yeah.
he's a veteran with veteran benefits.
Yeah.
They're probably on Medicaid or TRICARE.
Yep.
He's getting the GI Bill to
Yep.
do his education.
Yeah.
If she's disabled,
She's
she's
on
probably
disability.
getting
She's on disability.
disability payments. If she's got a child with autism, there are going to be IEPs or early interventions for that child that are provided by the Department of Education. Like literally all
She's
of those
getting
things.
WIC.
She's
WIC.
getting WIC. She was on SNAP.
Yep.
Right. So I mean, that's at least 7 things that she's depending on the government for. And like I feel for her as an empathetic person.
As a mother.
I feel for her kids, especially because they didn't get a fucking choice. But yeah, I'm not going to pay I'm not giving you money. This is how you fucking voted. This is what you did.
Y'all can empathize. I don't. And the reason why I don't is because it is your responsibility as a citizen to educate yourself on what you're voting for.
You get what you
vote for
voted
your
for.
best interest.
And you vote
for
for your
fuck's
best-
sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you vote for your best interests. And so now, because you were so caught up in rhetoric and, let's be frank, racism.
Yeah.
Right? It was more important for you to be racist than it was for you to vote in your own interest. And this is why I say that racism, white supremacy is a disease.
It's a hell of a drug.
And the actual religion of America is not money, it's whiteness. And that's what it is, because money is tangible. It's a thing that you could feel, but this protection of whiteness, it defies logic.
Right.
And therefore, you can have a woman or a family that is on at least 6 government programs.
7.
I say at least.
At least.
At
Yeah.
least 6 government programs to now vote against all of those programs.
That's literally, she does not understand how fucking government works, or she just thinks that this is going to hurt other people. But I have some advice for her. If she needs to make some money right now, maybe she can consider working a job that's been recently vacated by a deported, undocumented immigrant.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
she can do that. Why don't you go get a job?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right. Who
Be
cares?
a nanny.
Yep. Pick some strawberries. Or,
Healthcare worker.
Even just a regular job that an undocumented person did, like, being a CNA or something. Like,
I mean, I hate, like, part of me feels really badly saying that. I don't want to see people suffer. But if it's the only way that you're going to learn that these are the programs that benefit you, that Democrats have put in place and that Republicans have repeatedly said that they're going to cut, and they are cutting because clearly you're suffering from it.
Trump ran on this, though.
Like, literally, he
But
told you what he was
These
going
were
to do.
all campaign promises.
Yeah.
So you're there using all these services. He's saying he's going to cut them, and you're like, yeah, sign me up because they're eating the cats and dogs.
But, but it's not even that. It's not even that. It is the cognitive dissonance of people who sit down and think that somehow illegal immigrants are straining more resources off of the state, which they can't because they
it's
don't
not
have
legal.
social security
You can't
numbers
do
and
it.
they can't register for any of these things. as opposed to you, a American citizen who is benefiting from all these social safety net programs that we've put in place.
We all paid for these. We all pay taxes so that we have these benefits there for us in case we need them. And so our neighbors can use them when they're in situations.
These are the things we want our taxes to go to.
Absolutely.
I don't want to pay for foreign wars. I'm very happy to buy children food and give them health care.
I will pay $36 a year for someone to have SNAP. Absolutely.
Listen, and I tell
Give
people,
the veterans whatever they need, please.
Stop giving tax breaks to billionaires.
it's like the people always talk about, like, how do we reduce crime? How do we get kids to read at level? How do we get, the seniors to live longer, healthier, more fruitful lives? All of those things are solved by making sure people don't go hungry. Like, that is it.
It's literally what
the
is
number
it?
one
The
indicator.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Food, water, shelter.
Right. That's it. Food, water, shelter. You need to make sure that citizens' basic needs are being met.
Yep.
And when they're not, that's when all of these other terrible things in
That's
society
when
start
you create
to happen.
chaos.
Yeah.
And so, for me, you want to go in and you want to fund these programs. We all agree here that we want to fund these programs and we want to be able to provide for our neighbors, not just for ourselves, not just because that's the good citizenly thing to do. There is a literal safety reason to fund things like SNAP and WIC and Medicare and Medicaid, because they keep us all safe.
That's
when
right.
people don't have to make really crazy decisions.
People get laid off from their jobs and they lose their jobs because the corporate overlords are going to AI, or they're letting people go from their government positions. I would like to just say that I feel like this is all taxation without representation. What am I paying taxes for?
Yeah.
What am I paying taxes for if not for the things that are going to benefit my family, my neighbors' families,
You help in Venezuela. You bailing them out. So that's
you mean Argentina?
Yeah, my bad. Argentina. We're bombing Venezuela.
Bomb Venezuela.
But we're helping Argentina.
Right.
You're right.
Like
Yeah,
I don't need to pay for that. I don't want to be paying for a $300 million ballroom or whatever it is now. Like, none of that shit. So yeah, this woman, I feel for you, but I wouldn't be giving you any money either. And I bet she was probably an insufferable asshole after Trump won.
Yeah. No, facts, man.
Facts.
Schadenfreude.
Yeah, it is. So speaking of leopards feasting, I know I'm like always doing this.
I love you.
Like, the leopards are feasting. Something that Gina kind of dug up this week, which I found to be very interesting from this Atlantic article. Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, and others, except I will say Tulsi Gabbard has been denied this.
Yes, they said they didn't have room for her.
They don't have room for her. Yes. They have all moved on to military bases in the DC area because they are afraid for their personal safety.
Nobody is even thinking about y'all right now.
Well,
like,
here's the thing.
I mean, the Stephen Miller family,
Stephen
though.
Miller moved into a neighborhood and his neighbors were like,
fuck off, Nazi.
not cool. Like, no, thank you.
They put up wanted posters everywhere with his face on it.
They drew in chalk in front of the sidewalk of his house. I mean,
nothing major.
You're basically the architect of all of the shittiest policies that the Trump administration has written against immigrants, and like, you expect to just be able to like walk around freely, like
stand on it.
Ain't no thing. Exactly.
Stand on it.
Now my tax dollars are augmenting their personal security because they got to work on a U.S. military base.
Stephen Miller's wife went on Piers Morgan's show.
Katie Miller is like, oh my God. She deserves to be slapped.
She went on Piers Morgan's show, and somebody had said something that was basically...
Cenk.
Yeah, it was Cenk
from Young Turks.
Young Turks.
Okay.
Our buddy, we're besties now. Me, Norris, and Cenk are like this.
All he said was like, he called her out for something that was completely erroneous that she said. And she was just like, I'm not going to stand here for anti-Semitism. And he was like, ma'am.
That is not what I said.
Was like,
he didn't say anything about religion. Like, he said nothing about Judaism, Jewish people, like nothing.
Nothing. And she was just like, this is it. Piers, I am not going to be subjected to anti-Semitism.
And Pierce
on your
was
show.
like, what are you talking about?
Oh my God.
It was
Pierce
insane.
Morgan, who's as far right as you can get, was just like not playing ball with her.
These people want to be victims so bad.
Yeah.
They really do. And I mean, that's part of like the MAGA movement, right?
Yeah.
The anger and the vitriol and the fear comes from feeling like they're victims. And that's what they play into with their base and their population. So of course they're going to move into these bases because they're being victimized. I think one of the quotes that Stephen Miller said was that his family was singled out and that he was what he called organized campaigns of dehumanization, vilification, and posting people's addresses. It's like, what the fuck do you think you've been doing for years? Like they're like literally turning the tables.
Literally just his neighbors writing like, please move
Bro,
in front of his
Border
house.
Patrol has not run up in your house and snatched you out in your drawers and stood your naked children in the street.
Right,
out.
and
Like, I don't
zip-tied
want to
you.
hear it.
They're pulling kids
I don't wanna hear
off
it.
the streets.
Right.
They took an autistic 2-year-old. I mean, what is happening? They're taking nursing mothers.
Yep.
They're assaulting people
They're
in the
taking
streets.
foster kids.
Yes.
Kids
Yep.
in the foster care
Yes.
system. They're taking them. And who
I
knows where
watched
they're
a
going?
heartbreaking video of this man crying as they're putting his foster child in a car and the child is screaming for him and he's like, I'm so sorry, there's nothing I can do. I'm like gonna cry right now.
Re-traumatizing
It's
these
like-
already traumatized kids. You know, you all said you were going to go after the criminals and the rapists and all of that
For
and
foster children.
and you're taking foster children from their families.
Like, there is a way for us to enforce our immigration laws and to work people through a process in which that is humane,
Yes.
that is orderly, that is organized, and works within the bounds of our legal system. When we are literally ripping foster children from their foster parents, who, by the way, these are kids who did not ask to be here. So the foster system is actually one of the most humane legal ways that we can get these kids on the path to citizenship so they can get Social Security numbers, become citizens, and provide to the country. Nope. Grab them, take them away, and throw them back in Honduras or wherever it is.
Well, this is Stephen Miller, right? He is the architect of this entire program. He's an abhorrent human being. So this, you made your bed, now lie in it. Like, this is what you fucking
But
do.
that's what I mean. You gotta stand on it.
Right. I wanna add
Trump
that,
at least
like-
stands on his stuff. I don't like him, but he stands on a lot of the stuff he says. I'll at least give him that. But this Stephen Miller stuff, you running to go live on a military base because we
you're
drew some
afraid?
chalk. We drew some chalk graffiti in front of your house.
I want to add that like nothing that happened, like there were no crimes committed against Stephen Miller or Kristi Noem or Marco Rubio.
Yeah, nothing's happened to them.
It was simply like people trying to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
their safety was never at risk. Like there were no charges, no arrest. Like nobody did anything. to
Christy
them.
can go live on the jet we just paid for.
Right.
For her.
Can circle the earth a whole bunch of times.
We literally just paid, what was it, $150 million for
Yeah.
a jet
Yeah.
for just her?
I think she got 2.
Yeah, 2 jets.
Yeah.
I mean, so literally they're separating themselves from civilian populations, which is very telling,
Think
right?
about, Think about your administration where the highest members in your cabinet can't walk around
No.
because everyone fucking hates
them. This basically just hates their guts so much. But then again, that plays back into their victim mentality. So when researching this, what I kind of found, now obviously Mark Zuckerberg's not in
Administration.
He's not in the administration. He's not living on a military base. But did you know he's building a massive bunker in Hawaii?
Oh, yeah.
Like my dad brought this up the other day. He's like, what does Mark Zuckerberg know that we don't know? He calls it his little basement. But it's 5,000 square feet. It's connected to 2 mansions. It has a mechanical room, an escape hatch, a metal door. It also has its own energy system, food supplies, water tank, and self-sufficiency
I feel
plan.
like when you reach this level of wealth, something happens in your brain where you become a paranoid schizophrenic.
Yeah, you become a doomsday prepper.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where he's
They're
at.
all like the end of times prepping, need to repopulate the earth with my
But what does he know that we
seed,
don't?
like,
Oh, geez.
end
Nobody
of
wants
days, mark of the beast shit, like the
Yeah.
oracle guy, like they're all like cuckoo
Looney
for Cocoa
Tunes.
Puffs.
Yeah,
Tunes.
and all because brown people are happy. Like that's what these people are freaking out because black and brown people just so happen to be really just
Doing okay.
Chilling.
Chilling.
Just doing all right.
Doing all right.
Ridiculous.
I don't know. Either way, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Aside, like we've got these cabinet members going and living on military bases, and billionaires are building bunkers and shit. And it's like, what is happening?
And I mean, like, I get it. Like, is that a sign of some craziness that's to come? But at the end of the day, I mean, the call is coming from inside the house, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, it is worrying, but at the end of the day, man, no one has threatened their life. Like,
well, I don't know what their messages are.
Yeah, let me not say it.
If you're a prominent person anywhere,
we have not seen
right
an attempt on any of these people's lives.
Right.
You know, we've seen one on Trump
and Charlie Kirk,
and obviously there was the Charlie Kirk thing. So. But nobody's done anything.
But if you're going to be a dick, you got to expect that there's going to be blowback. That's just the way it goes. But okay, go live on your military base. I don't want to pay for it though.
Yeah.
So back here in Michigan, we've got a bunch of stuff kind of happening right now with Gina's favorite, Haley Stevens. So Gina, do you want to kind of tell everyone what's happened?
The conversation is really around corporate PAC money, right? Because like the biggest problem most of us have in politics is just the amount of money that large corporations and wealthy donors can just pour into a race and really just, put their hand on the scales.
At least think they do.
Yes.
I mean, if we look at what happened last night.
It didn't work in Manhattan, but like those, the fear mongering, the propaganda, it doesn't work like it used to. People are really getting wise to that.
But this is a bipartisan issue also, by the way.
Absolutely.
Which is a thing that is really interesting, is that many Democrats and Republicans both agree that dark money and big money interests in the politics.
It's got to go.
Got to go.
Well, and this is a question posed to every candidate. Like, many have taken the pledge not to accept corporate money. Like, let's talk about the Senate race, okay? So we have Abdul El-Sayed has said he will absolutely not take corporate PAC money, never has. He obviously will not take APAC money or anything. Mallory McMurrow, who has taken corporate PAC money in the past, has said she's not accepting any for this race. And Haley Stevens is like, calling the corporations, asking for money actively.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's free. Like most of her money from, if you read her last finance report, which Norris did, he can tell you most of her money is coming from corporate PACs.
Yeah, it is. And she was confronted with this on one of our local political shows.
Off the Record on PBS.
Off the Record, yep.
Local reporter posed the question to her.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the clip, Norris.
Yep.
Craig Magger from the Detroit News is the one interviewing her here.
And he was not messing around.
Do you think large corporations have too much influence in politics right now?
I think the voice of the people is very important. And
so is that a yes or no?
I don't necessarily view it like that.
Why not? I mean, this is a lot of energy on the Democratic side right now is on this.
Well, what would be an example of that, Craig?
Well, I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
But you said...
Well, here's the thing.
So bad.
What does she mean? Would an example of like that be, Greg?
All of the money in your campaign bank account, Haley.
the remainder of that conversation is about, I want to say 90 seconds long, of which she kind of, I don't want to say dances around the question, but she never gives a direct answer to yes or no. Is this a big issue in Michigan politics? And because she can't say it's not, because she takes so much corporate PAC money. And then you get to this position now where and I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but we're talking about this massive data center that is about to go in just outside of Ann Arbor in Saline. And DTE is one of the major contributors in our politics.
Yeah,
let's
get
to that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I think that's a really good segue.
We recently published a Substack on data centers, and there's a few things we know. There is a definite trope where people are saying, oh, they'll bring jobs in. No, they do not. Once you construct the data center, which is
an 18-month process,
a short term,
right.
These are not jobs that are giving people long-term security. Once you construct the data center, there are very few jobs that come with it. Okay, maybe a security guy walking around. You'll
have some data engineers. You'll have a handful of data engineers. You'll have some custodians. we're talking about 15 to 20 jobs.
It's housing
Max.
servers. That's what it is. It's housing
Yes.
massive servers.
It's a giant
Yeah,
warehouse with computers in it, and really very few employees.
Think about the Tron movies, the giant server places.
Legitimately, but these are not, massive incubators of job growth. This is not like a hospital, which is hundreds of jobs.
Right, right. They employ people long term. No, this is all very short term. This drives up local energy costs. This has like major environmental impacts that are not for the better.
No.
And we're seeing this across the country in places that do approve these. They all regret it in the end. So recently there was an article that came out about how, the governor's massive win for the state. They're bringing this Oracle-backed data center in Saline, which is in Washtenaw County. And it's tax exempt.
Of course it is.
What the actual fuck?
Right. So they're not even going to be like getting any tax revenue for this. And I think the people of Saline had actually protested this and sued the township or something, but they had to go through with it. They ended up having to go through with it.
They had to go through with it. There were some concessions that were made in terms of local water use. But the thing about it is that for those who don't know, data centers need massive, I'm talking about in the billions of gallons of water.
Many of them use the same amount of energy the entire city of New York would in like a day.
And this is Saline, which is kind of a sleepy bedroom community to Ann Arbor. There's a lot of open acreage and farmland there. There's the Saline River, I believe. There's also the Huron River in Ann Arbor. So people need to be pissed about this.
So long story short, everybody DTE bill about to go up.
Right.
Because of this.
But they're trying to claim that these facilities won't increase costs for their consumers.
It's a lie.
So it's literally a lie. But they're asking the Michigan Public Service Commission to forego any public hearings because they don't want any comments. They just want their contracts okayed. They don't want formal scrutiny from outside groups like environmental or consumer advocates.
And listen, anytime a company is saying we don't want the public to comment on
rush
it,
this approval.
That's not a good sign,
No,
people.
no.
And that has nothing to do with any sort of partisan politics. It has everything to do with the fact that in your communities, you have a right to speak on what's going in it. And if you don't want a massive data center in your town, you have the right to say that.
Yeah.
I think it's very, I think it's really terrible that because of the lobbying and the ability for DTE and others to be able to put so much money into our politics that something like this will go forward, even though the will of the people of Saline and Washtenaw County is very clear.
They don't want it. They don't want it in their backyard.
Governments across the nation need to come together and say, none of us will approve tax exemptions for data centers. Why are we giving billion and trillion dollar corporations tax breaks? They can absolutely afford to pay taxes that our local communities desperately need. And time again, we're begging these centers to come and build in our areas.
Yeah. And they don't provide barely any jobs, like you said.
No.
They're going to be an environmentally
There's no
decimating area.
upside. There is literally no upside.
They also don't know how long this is going to last. This has become kind of a weird bubble. So they don't know, if this is something that ends up having cheaper and more efficient energy usage in the future. This data center is going to become obsolete very quickly.
And the thing is that if the incentives or if the things came with guarantees of renewable energy build outs, then we're in a whole different story.
Carbon offsets.
Yeah, carbon offsets and stuff like that. We're not even talking about that. We're literally saying OpenAI, Oracle, come build a giant data center and it's just yours.
Do whatever you want. Carte blanche. Saline's a very beautiful community. So it's really kind of horrifying to see what's happening there. But this goes back to examine your politicians or who you're voting for.
It's Democrats and Republicans
it's both.
alike.
It's both.
Giving
Go see
these
how much money they're getting.
Tax incentives. Michigan has a lot of water. These centers need a lot of water. We have the upper hand. The people do. We need to stop approving this shit.
And listen, it's not going to be the last time that something like this is discussed because of our water system. And let me just say, we've said for years, almost 15 years now, that in the near future, Michigan in particular is going to be this climate haven specifically because of our access to fresh water.
Don't move here.
Well, if the data centers are sucking up all the fresh water,
yeah.
what water do we have left for the humans? It's this it's this thing where it's like that's late stage capitalism where you get to a point where the corporation and these companies are so big to where they extract all the resources, and now the people don't have money and resources to buy the thing that the corporation is selling.
Yeah.
So what are we doing, y'all?
Well, there's no incentive for them to like try to change these structures either. Like if you're not pushing back on them, like as citizens countrywide where they can't get them built, then they're not going to bother innovating to find a way to make it more energy efficient and more environmentally friendly. They're just going to do what they're going to do. So make sure that if you're out there and you're listening, check up on your politicians, check up on the people you're voting for, check their campaign finance reports, see who they're getting money from, because Haley Stevens gets money from DTE. So do a lot of our elected officials here. And of
Democrats
course,
and Republicans.
Democrats and Republicans. So of course they're going to be like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want as long as I can keep my job.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Go to your local town halls.
Yeah.
That too, yeah, for sure. For the ones that show up to town hall.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, either way, take all the energy that we've had with this big blue wave the last few days and go and bitch about some data centers and
keep it moving, man.
Keep it moving.
It was a day. I feel like that a lot of people had a lot of positive energy. Obviously, if you're a conservative listening to this, you probably feel a little bad, but you know
I don't
what?
care. Also, you're probably not listening to us because
You
you're
don't know
conservative.
that.
No.
You don't know
No.
that.
No.
But the thing about
Go
it
listen to Glenn Beck.
is
See you
that-
later.
what I'll say is pay attention. Look at what's happening when it comes to mobilization in the people. So
Speaking of mobilization and the people, we're going to a town hall next Saturday, and I want to invite our listeners to come along. So next Saturday, November 15th at 9 o'clock, you can meet us in Warren at the UAW Region 1. You can look that address up and we'll put it in the show notes. But this is a town hall that's going to educate the population, like come around like it's in Warren. So, and the surrounding areas. We want to let people know about like what the Republican budget law is doing, like the implications, because you guys in M10 have John James as your congressperson, and he has voted a lot of your, he's just voted against your best interest time and time again.
Yeah.
So we're going to be educating people on the implications of that big, beautiful murder bill in regards to their health care, in regards to the food assistance, and just everything that's going on right now. And some pretty cool people are coming along with us. So like our friends like Rashida Tlaib will be there, some other Congress people, local grassroots folks like Michigan United Action and Ken Whitaker will be there speaking, Moms Rising, the Progressive Caucus Action Fund. All of our besties will be there. So come on out next Saturday, November 15th at 9 a.m. And like, let's just like have our airing of grievances and really
a Festivus for the rest of us.
Yes. And just really like get educated on what's happening and what we can do to fight back.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, this wraps another episode of the Point of Disorder podcast. We really appreciated you joining us today. Make sure you take that energy out, and we'll see you next Thursday. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Point of Disorder. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who listened today. And if you like us, give us a like, a subscribe, or a review on any place you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politic. This is the Point of Disorder podcast, signing off. Stay sharp, stay progressive, and above all, stay tuned.